Hello and welcome back to Lumin Weekly. It's been a while, we skipped a week, but it's back now. And this episode is slightly light, there's going to be a bit less. I'll tell you about that at the end. But I didn't have like a lot of questions or anything to answer. I think Nira's about to bark here. What is it, boy? Nira's not doing too well, he's very restless since we got home. Actually, he's doing fine, he's just very restless. So, firstly, let me just get to the questions that I had from last week. I had a few of them, and I want to answer them because they're here, and why not? So, from MMA Tomas, he asks, do I cook? And if so, what are your favorite things to make? Any South African specialities? I myself have an imaginary PhD in the preparation and consumption of cow meat. A PhD in the consumption of cow meat sounds like a good speciality, a good skill to have. But no, I don't know. We aren't really into the very South African like recipes and I mean South African, I think I've said it before, but like one of the big things is brine or barbecuing, as you'd probably call it, and that's the common the stereotypical thing to expect from South Africans, and I personally, we're not into that. Okay, I don't really do it very often. We did a lot when my parents were still living here. That was their favorite thing to do every single weekend, and more often if they got the chance. So, but we don't really do that ourselves. Otherwise, I don't cook very well. I don't cook. For some reason, I used to make things with bananas, or like I used to make a really good banana loaf, but that's not really cooking. That's more baking. And I actually love frying bananas in the pan. We've got a wok actually, but in the wok we fry the bananas with some butter or margarine, and then you put some brown sugar in, and then it's really good. But I don't know, cooking, no, like not really. I make a very good sweet potato. There you go. That's one of my favorites. Okay, so no, not really, like nothing really special. We eat pretty boring and bland food here, but healthy. And then Raven Dragon asks, what's your accent? So I'm from South Africa, and that's pretty much it. I've got like a Western Cape South African accent, English South African accent. I think I'll say this like 1,000 times, but there are millions of different accents in South Africa, lots of little variations. You get like so many different types. You get different of each like area in South Africa will have a different, like the people here down in the Western Cape Town area will speak a lot differently than the people up in Johannesburg or Pretoria, and then the people in Durban are once again even more like different. And then in all those separate areas you have the English people, the Afrikaans people, all of them speak English differently. Then you have the black South African people who obviously don't speak English as a first language, which is even more different, and like there's a lot of different accents. So I can't really say exactly which one mine is, but pretty much just straight up English, first language, English, South African. Then Panic asks, have you ever gotten to if you could live in any other third world country, which would it be? I don't know, I haven't really thought of that. There are a few really nice countries other than South Africa, like Nero's barking again a lot. Whatever, he's keeping us safe. But seriously, but I would say, like, I'd sort of give you a very wide on a broad answer. I'd say any of the like Eastern countries, any Asian country, and a lot of them are third world countries still. Not all the countries are as developed as Japan or Korea, so I'd say just any Asian country. That would be my like wish, or not wish, but I think that they've got a pretty decent standard of living over there, especially even the people who are less like not as well off, and I think it could be a really nice place to stay. So it'll also be a nice change from here. I wouldn't want to live in any other African country because I think, and no offense to the others, but I think South Africa is probably the best off, apart from maybe Egypt and like some of the Arabian countries. But I think South Africa is pretty well off compared to the others in terms of like living conditions and crime and all that stuff. So yeah. And then he also asks, oh actually he first asked, have you ever gotten into a fight with your girlfriend over a video game? And if that was too personal, I'd ask the other one. I don't know if I have. Maybe in WoW once or twice. But like, yeah, probably in WoW. I think I was our like guild master back in the day, and I had to choose who got the loot, and then she didn't get the loot and she was angry. But I don't know, it's not really big. You play still. She's busy complaining, yeah. But it's never really serious. Like, no, not really. I find video game fights are pretty low key. Okay, they're not going to really bother for very long. Nero's back. Have a look at him. He's so handsome, isn't he? But yeah, so that's about it. And that's about it for the questions. There weren't very many because I told you that I wasn't having another Lumin Weekly that week. And now my eye's itching. Sorry. Okay, so for this week, there's not going to be a challenge. What I want to do is, firstly, and yes, that's wow, she's busy wiping in Zulgarab. So for this week, I'm not going to have a challenge, but I want to work on that. I want to try and get something a little bit more interesting because I feel the weekly challenge was fun for like a few people, but I think it can be better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can think of something to do for next week. Perhaps something interesting, maybe not even next week, maybe the week after that, but I'm not sure. I want to do something, and I'd love your input on that. So if you have any ideas for what I can do for a weekly challenge, now this is for something that I probably won't be able to give prizes away immediately yet. I'm not sure yet, okay, but like I want to work on that, and I want to get something more interesting, something more involving maybe. And if you guys have any ideas for a weekly challenge-ish type of thing, let me know. And then other than that, then I want to set, like, I think it was Mr. Carlsink, I'm not sure. He recommended that I don't give an entire broad topic for every week. I just give one question, and that you guys can ask questions about. And I've got a good one for this week. I wanted to ask you guys, as you probably all know, I went to the US. I went to LA actually. So recently, I just got back like yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever. And the question of the week is, your sort of questions of the week can be based on anything that so ask me about my trip, okay? Don't ask me about like anything game related or StarCraft related. Ask me about the actual trip. Ask me about what I say, maybe for instance the airports on the way there, what I saw in LA, the people I met, the experiences I had, maybe the shops I visited. Just ask me anything about the US, the food I ate, who knows, like anything about your country if you're in fact from the US, and you can just get my opinion on what I saw there or what I experienced there. And I think it'll be interesting because I would obviously see these things and how things are over there a lot differently than you guys would see it being residents of the country. So that's the question of the week, and I think it'll be interesting. So again, a recap, ask about my trip. That's the question of the week. I can't really call it a question of the week because it's sort of me telling you to ask me. That doesn't make sense at all. That's pretty much all I've got though. Okay, and I think I'm going to soon also just start putting in a question for you guys every week so you can answer that. But I want to find a better way of doing that as well. So if you have any hints or tips about that, I'm always open to suggestions. But that's your topic for the week. LA, my trip, all the other things between. You can ask about the people I met as well, always interesting. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Once again, I'm recording this on my phone just as a tester. I wanted to see how the quality looked and all that. It should be HD, so you can watch it in HD if you want. And that's about it. I have a lot of work to do now, sadly, so I'm going to get to that. I sort of have a lot of catch up to do since I left. So that's it. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thanks for watching, and happy unhappy Nero puppy.